This year, I grew more beans in my garden than ever before. And believe it or not, it's all thanks to these 5 dead trees that my grandpa just doesn't want to get rid of. Combining creativity with gardening is my passion. So I planted pole beans behind these dead trees to bring them new life. This low-budget gardening project was a huge success. The new bean trees produced way more green beans than I expected. They fed my family and friends for many months. But with rain on the way, it's finally time to cut them down. And I've been put in charge of green bean casserole for Thanksgiving dinner, so I'm going to need every bean I can get. I'm going to share with you how I grew my bean trees and the final harvest. You'll see how I save seeds for next season and learn some helpful tips and tricks when it comes to growing pole beans. I'm in the tree! I'm getting covered. One of my goals was to not spend much, if anything, on this project. I used old fence boards I found to make small rectangular planters behind the trees. I scored some free dirt from a pile in an alley nearby. Because of their shallow root system, bean plants generally do well in harder, less rich soils. I started dozens of Kentucky Wonder pole bean seeds that I had saved from my crop last year. For spacing, I planted the seedlings around 4 inches apart. I attached garden twine from the planter boxes to the tree to encourage the beans to crawl up towards the empty branches. Some of the seedlings had a 2-week head start and were ready to hop on the twine for their ride up the tree. It's so crazy, they're actually going into the bushes right there. The Kentucky Wonder beans grew like wildfire. Within weeks, the bean plants had engulfed the crepe myrtle tree's barren branches. Bees and other pollinators started arriving to do their job. The beans began showing up in bunches. In a very short amount of time, I was harvesting every day. I planted these bean trees around 6 months ago, and I've let them go a little bit longer than I probably should, but they're still producing some beans here and there. So I've let them go, and now it works out because I need the beans. My plan was that the beans would grow elegantly up these trees and look really cool, but in reality, it just turned into a big blob. I'm not going to eat all of the green beans that I'm picking today. In fact, I'll be separating them a little bit. For instance, on this particular branch, you'll notice that the bean here, it has really enlarged seeds and it's past its maturity date. It hasn't been picked on time, but if I let this dry out, it's going to dry out and give me 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 new seeds for next season for me to use or give to somebody. Oh, my supervisor Andy's here. Are you here to check on me, bud? Come here, good boy. The reason it was finally time to cut the bean trees down was rain. We had had a few showers up to this point, but nothing substantial. I had left a lot of bean pods on the vines to dry out to collect seeds. Plenty of rain and moisture could have ruined them. These Kentucky Wonder green beans are nuts. They'll grow everywhere. They're growing in the bushes and out. We recently cut the hedge here and lost some good beans there, I think. Wow, this is gonna be a lot more beans than I thought. Up against time and the weather, I thought it would be a good idea to cut down the bean plants and sort through them in my garage. Okay, so to save on time, I am just going to go ahead and get in here and cut these bean trees like that. Look, we got a little snail in here. He's probably eating pretty well down in there. This soil is really kind of like thick clay soil, at least when I put it in here. It feels a lot better now, considering I got this from a free dirt pile in an alley by my house. I'm going to leave the stem of the bean plant and the root system so that it can break down and help amend this soil that is on its way to being really good. Another snail, uh-oh. I'm gonna take the plants off of these dead trees, but do it delicately so I don't knock the dead tree over. And also I want to try and harvest anything without getting it scraped up on the ground or the cement. I'm just starting by trimming the bigger branches in here, and hopefully that's gonna loosen up everything to come off, because these things just get all tangled up and crazy inside of here. It's very interesting. This is gonna be a lot more cutting than I thought, but these Chicamasa scissors are up to the task. I feel like I'm shearing a sheep because I'm pulling all these branches off of the body of this dead tree. A lot of growth. This Kentucky Wonder Bean grows so well. Look, that is just so cool. You know what? I think I might save that. This is really cool because it's all of the vines from the green bean tree growing up the twine that's here in the middle, if you can see that right there. And I think when this dries out, it'll be just kind of like a cool little thing to put somewhere or include in some art that I might do in the future. Andy, those aren't, no, that's not something you eat. It's a bean. No, no, no. Oh my gosh. I need that bean. I see it in your mouth. Give it to me. Drop the bean. Thank you. Thank you. Oh boy, this is a lot of weight. The tree is kind of tipping on me. So I gotta relieve that. I gotta start dropping this off. And what's weird about these leaves is they're just really, they stick to you in your clothes. And these trees died a few years ago when we were in a pretty serious drought stretch and we couldn't water things that weren't more necessities, you know? So it is what it is. And my grandpa didn't want to cut these trees down, and I thought they were kind of ugly. So that is why I grew the beans up them as like a fun art veggie experiment, if you will. Oh, wow. Here it comes. Yeah. Oh my gosh. This might be a 2-day project. This might be a 2-day project. You can see underneath the top this collection of dead leaves and stuff that wasn't really able to fall down because it was just so crowded inside there. This one is a little weaker. It didn't get quite as thick as the others, but it still gave me like, oh man, so many pounds of beans. Each one of these plants gave me, hundreds of servings. What was a little surprising and confusing was these trees grew into really big blobs, but didn't give me any beans till late summer. And I found out the reason of that is if it's over 90, 95 degrees, green beans, pole beans specifically, don't like that heat and they don't produce. I originally thought they weren't putting out beans because I wasn't getting enough bees or pollinators, but I started to see the bees and pollinators come in, so I knew that wasn't the problem. The problem was it had to cool down a bit, and when it did, these started producing. I am almost sick of beans now. I'm in the tree. Look at me, I'm in the tree. I'm getting covered. Oh, this one's a beast, yo. Just a bunch of tangled spaghetti up here. Look at all these dead leaves in here. That's because I didn't clean them out at all. Also, could have been some bugs. Oh no. Ah, that was a good branch. Brr, girl. As you can see, this is one of the only trees that's showing some life here, which actually looks really cool because it has these little pink flowers that you can kind of see. There's some little pink flowers, and those were flowering with the green bean jungle going on, and it looked really cool. I planted this tree last and didn't give it a whole lot of love, just hoped the sprinklers would water this specific one. And it actually turned out more to what I thought this project would look like. You know, a canopy with the beans hanging down to be easily picked. And I'm gonna keep that in mind to maybe do a different technique on these same trees next year where I can get more of this easy picking. I wonder how they actually harvest green beans. Let me know in the comments if you know that. I'd be curious to find out. It's starting to get dark here, so I'm going to take all of the vines from my green bean trees into the garage so that I have enough light to sort through them, find all my seeds. As you can see here, all the seeds I'm going to have, tons of them. They're already all over the ground from being tossed around. I'm going to collect those as well. All right. So I'm trying to carry these and not drag too much, because if there's good beans here, I don't want to scrape them and scratch them before I cook with them. After moving the plants to be sorted, it was time for a quick cleanup before I could get to the next step. Look at that one. That's gonna have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 seeds. That's 9 new plants. That's so exciting to me. Good start to the green bean casserole. I'm gonna have a lot of seeds, more than I'll know what to do with. I'll probably give some away, do some rogue gardening, and if you have any other ideas in the comments, let me know. All right, here I am in my garage with all of the bean plants stacked on each other, which I am regretting a little bit now, thinking that maybe if I picked everything off, it would have been a little easier on me, because now I have to cut through all this to get what I want, but that's okay because I'm excited for all the seeds I'm gonna get and all the green beans. All right, so I'm separating the beans into 3 different zones here. I've got the cookable beans, the dried out seed pods, and beans that are green but are big enough here to produce some good seeds in the future after they dry out. As time consuming as this project is, I'm loving every second of it. It's so fun. When I first thought of growing beans up a tree, I was like, yeah, why not? I realized I was wrong. It would have been quicker to pick the beans and seed pods straight off the trees. But due to the darkness and incoming rain, I didn't have much of a choice but to take this project inside and work late into the night. All right, I think I'm set. I've got a full bowl of beans, more than enough for my green bean casserole. I've got tons of these dried seed pods that I'm gonna sit out for a little longer. I'm really happy with my final harvest and how well my bean trees did overall. My first green bean casserole turned out pretty good, or at least that's what my family said. Nice. Perfect.